I think so.
All right, thank you for coming by Tori Magoo 44. Today is the 2nd of June 2012, and I am with a friend, John Dries, who used to be in the Sea Organization, for anyone who's familiar with that. And you were in for, what, 10 years?
10 years, yeah, from like 70 to 79, so like 9.5 years.
Exactly. And we just came back from a picket in Orange County, the Ideal Org. And we had a great picket. They'll put videos up about it. But it was very funny. David Miscavige actually talked, and we were both saying on the way home it'll probably be his last ever talk outside in the day, because we were screaming while he was talking.
Some of the people were very, very, very loud, so I think some echoes probably got through to the crowd.
Yeah. So it was a very small crowd. It was mostly bussed-in staff members. That's what we estimated. A few public, but nothing like what it used to be. It's amazing. And the Orange County cops were really nice.
They were very nice, yeah.
So it worked out good. It was a good picket. So anyway, I made this video about the communication course telling you what I liked about it. But John had mentioned something that I thought was really, really key that you guys hear, and I wanted you to tell about it.
Right.
Now, he used to be a cramming officer, correction officer, he knows a lot about the technology. So, and in a QualSec, right? So, which is one of the executives.
I was the QualSec and the chief cramming officer at Celebrity Center.
At Celebrity Center.
In the 70s, so it was a long time ago. And so I've forgotten a lot of stuff, but yeah.
But the basic thing, what was it you were saying about communication as far as acting?
Yeah, I said a few things about it actually, and these are just my thoughts on it, you know. But when people come into Scientology, the first thing they usually do after the introductory lecture is the communication course, which consists of TR0 to 4.
Which I just told you about.
Tori's gone into that, you know, TR0 confronting. And what most people initially get out of it, I think, and that was my experience anyway, is that, well, you get a little better at confronting people, talking to people, getting your question answered, and that's all well and good and great. And there's really nothing wrong with that, you know, as far as it goes. But then you keep doing these same drills over and over and over in Scientology. And you do the TR0 2-hour blinkless confront, you know, the robot confront, and you keep doing these TRs and TRs and TRs. And it becomes something different from what it was when you first got in, when it was kind of like, yeah, I sort of like this. It becomes...
Hang on, I gotta just do that. Okay, go on.
Yeah, it becomes, I think, a few things. One is it becomes an exercise in complete obedience, because you're under a supervisor and you're reading bulletins, and you're not allowed to discuss it or talk about it or anything, but you have to do exactly what it says on your check sheet.
And what happens if you don't?
Well, if you don't, you get sent to word clearing, and you get corrected, and you get brainwashed, and you come back and you do exactly as you're told, or you get sick of it and you leave if you're smart.
Or you get sent to ethics.
Or that smart.
Or you're sent to ethics, right?
Right.
Because you must be PTS if you've got any, you know, if you're connected to anyone that is antagonistic to Scientology. Yeah, exactly. So one way or the other, they get you buying into, this is the tech, focus on it, that's it.
Yeah, so it becomes an exercise in really obedience, you know, which all of Scientology can be characterized in that way. All the training and the auditing is doing things over and over and over again in exactly the right way, on pain of severe punishment. But so that's one thing. And the other thing is that you do this TR0 confront, 2-hour confront, you know, blinkless 10 times. You get to be, I can stare at anybody for an hour and a half.
We both
what
can.
Is that? That you know, I can stare at you without blinking and without flinching and without doing any of the things normal people do. Right. So I can put on an act. So it becomes an exercise in learning how to act, as if
but
you
were
don't
really know that.
And you don't know that. But it's
right.
an exercise in learning how to act as if you are really certain of what you're talking about, which normal people aren't, and I'm not. You know. And as if you were really just this powerful, strong being, because you've drilled not blinking for 2 hours and talking and getting your point across to people. So it becomes an exercise in acting in such a way that you can dominate other people.
Right.
So, like, I could stare at you without blinking, and I could tell you whatever bullshit I feel like telling you.
Right.
And it's as if I'm really sure of that.
Right.
And I know what I'm talking about. Well, I don't, of course.
And you guys have all seen that. If you picketed or anything, you see how they are. They were there today, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're there. They know. We don't. Right? It doesn't matter what you say to them. They know. We don't.
Yeah.
It's pretty, because it says it's standard tech. And that you know more than, they start calling everybody who's out a wog, right?
Yeah, and you get this sensation of total certainty, in Scientology. And the TRs help you to look like you really might be totally certain, which nobody really human does look like.
No.
So if you see somebody who looks like he's totally certain, you're not talking to a real human being. You're probably talking about somebody who's an actor.
Right,
So,
that's a good point.
And it's interesting that most of the celebrities, the high up people, the famous people in Scientology, are professional actors.
Right.
I mean, they're much better than me and you. Tom Cruise, John Travolta, whoever you have, these are professional actors. So,
right.
So
it plugs right into
what
what they're doing.
Professional scientists, or investigative journalists or anything like that. They are actors, and they're very good at being actors, and that's how you go on in Scientology, because it's all an act.
That's a very good point. It is a very good point. And also, you knew Hubbard, right? Didn't you know him briefly?
No, I never knew him. I saw him once or twice.
Weren't you on the ship or something?
I was on the ship doing training for about 6 weeks, and Hubbard was there. I saw him on a few different occasions.
And how do you feel about him? I mean, a lot of people have this, like, David Miscavige is all bad, but Hubbard's all great. And
well, in my opinion, it stems from Hubbard. See,
right.
It is, the tech is not a tech; it's a fake tech. It's a fake psychotherapy that goes on forever and ever and ever, and becomes a spiritual therapy based on a fake 100% standard technology.
But it's not really spiritual.
It's not really spiritual, right. And it's not really a technology. It's fictional. And the fictional technology is based on fictional observation and fictional science. There are some modern science of mental health. Give me a break. So this isn't true, but I think it's a continuation of Hubbard's thinking, and Miscavige may be worse in some ways. But it is how the tech works. It doesn't really work to help anybody. It works to give you, this cult, and at the head of the cult is this little thug, David Miscavige, and that's Scientology.
And money.
It doesn't work.
And it's all evolved around money. And if you don't have money, you'll see they quickly route you out. They don't have time for you.
If Scientology worked, you wouldn't have the leader of Scientology beating people up.
And locking them in a hole.
Locking them up, or you wouldn't have the RPF's RPF. And you had the RPF under L. Ron Hubbard, so it is a continuation.
Right.
Even though it may be worse and more severe. They may be more violent and weird, but it was pretty bad under Hubbard, too.
Exactly.
So
it isn't one of those things either one of us recommends, anybody does. And if you're lurking, which I know people do lurk now that are in, I think both of us highly recommend you take the nearest door and get out as fast as you can.
Just get out of there. The cult is really expert at trapping people, and by degree getting you to commit to Scientology until after a while you get to the point where you believe things that are absolutely ridiculous, like the story of Xenu and the body thetans,
right.
OT7 and OT5 and all that stuff. And that's because you've been brought step by step up to that point of loyalty and belief, and trust in the cult and technology. And they're really expert at doing that, so do not get into it. Get out of there.
And another thing is, we were also talking about on the way back how these guys are locked in the hole, or they're up at gold, and they don't leave, right? But part of it's because we think they don't really feel like they have a place to go. And I know some of them somehow, some way are watching different videos. So what would you say to them?
It's a tough situation because, I was in that situation for a while, although it got better for me and I had some money. And when I left Scientology, I had money, so
right.
it wasn't too much of a problem in that regard. But these guys they might have no connections outside of the cult. They might be in their 50s and 60s, and they might not have any money. They don't even have maybe a car. Maybe they have a bike or something. So it's a difficult thing. But I would say, you got to leave sometimes. So
just leave, and there's people that'll help you. There are around the world. There are wonderful people who've helped me, helped other people, and no, Scientology, I'm not making money on this. Which somebody ran that on me today, and I'm like, really, where is it?
Yeah, just get out of there.
Yeah,
the sooner you get out of there, the less harm you will do. So you'll feel better.
Right.
And if you believe in karma, have better karma if you leave tonight.
Exactly, tonight. And you can always call me. My phone number's on the internet, and you give me a call, and I'll come pick you up. So thank you very much for
you're welcome.
sharing
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, and peace out. I hope the video for the picket today should be on the internet soon. All right, so we will talk to you guys soon. Ciao.